So good morning, everybody. We welcome you to the February 13th, 2024 meeting of the Calvert County Board of Commissioners. At this time, I'd like to ask Pastor Simmons if he would give us an invocation, please.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for having me here today. I think I'm from South County, according to the lady who spoke earlier, so I'm representing Lusby today. So anyway, let's have a word of prayer. Heavenly Father, thank you so much for the opportunity for these folks to gather together to do your business here in Calvert County. We thank you, Lord, for our faithful leaders and those who are here today to represent various interests in Calvert County. We pray for a blessing upon them as they present, as they propose, and we just ask, Lord, for your blessing upon all the things that work in this government, that you would hold it together tightly, that you would work through it and have your will done through the people of this county, and we give you the praise in Jesus' name.
Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the
Flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor Simmons, and he comes to us today from the Calvary Bible Church in Lusby. And we know of at least one individual in Lusby that needs all the prayers he can get. I'm not mentioning any names, but
I don't know who that is.
the next item on the agenda is to approve the agenda. Any corrections, additions to the agenda as presented?
None.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
I have a motion and a second that we approve the agenda as presented. Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. I have a couple of public service announcements today. We're asking for your thoughts and prayers for our Dr. Jason Finkelstein, who's our jurisdictional medical director for Calvert and St. Mary's counties, who was involved in a very serious accident in St. Mary's County last week. Dr. Finkelstein's been through several surgeries since last week, and we would ask you to keep him in your prayers. And also, Ruthie Buckler, who works in our office, is going to have some surgery next week. We also would ask that you would keep her in your prayers. And let me see. Yesterday was NAACP Day, and as we continue to celebrate Black History Month, we just want to recognize that event that occurred yesterday. The NAACP was formed in 1909 as an interracial effort to promote justice for African Americans. And for over 115 years, the NAACP has been fighting racism and race-based discrimination in communities across the country. And also, on tomorrow, on Valentine's Day, the League of Women Voters celebrate their birthday. They were established on February 14th in 1920, and we have a very active group, League of Women Voters in Calvert County. Want to wish them a happy birthday for tomorrow. And once again, we had a zoning ordinance public forum on this Thursday, February the 15th, and that's going to be held at the Harriet E. Brown Community Center at 7 p.m. to present the proposed changes to Articles 1, 2, and 29 of the draft zoning ordinance update, and you can attend either in person or virtually through Zoom. And the information about that meeting is on our website at www.calvertcountymaryland.gov/zoning ordinance update. And that concludes all of my public service announcements for today, and that will bring us to our first item, which is a proclamation. Director Oberg.
Morning, Commissioners. I'm Julie Oberg, Director of Economic Development here in Calvert County. Today we're here to celebrate National Engineering Week, which honors the dedication, innovation, and expertise of engineers who play a pivotal role in shaping our world from construction to healthcare, technology, transportation, energy, and beyond. This week also offers a special time to bring awareness of engineering as a profession and inspire future generations to pursue careers in STEM fields, and the importance of investing in STEM education and workforce development to ensure a sustainable pipeline of talent for the engineering profession. So now I'd like to introduce CSM President Brian Warnicke to come up and his students, and I also know that we've got some engineering employers here in the audience, so if they would also come up to introduce themselves and come up for the picture. Thank you.
Thank you, Julie.
Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you for the proclamation. Thank you for your continued support. Yeah, I'm Brian Warnicke. I'm an engineering instructor with CSM, And I've got two outstanding engineering students with me who wanted to talk about a couple of the exciting engineering-based programs that they're working on right now.
Thank you.
You can come forward, sir.
So I'm Kyle Nielsen. I'm a sophomore at the electrical engineering program at CSM. So currently we have some other programs assisted with that called the DREAM program. So that is a National Science Foundation funded program for the next 3 years that takes students and it offers an experiential education environment for them. So we have a training program in January that teaches us more in depth about the applications of the engineering field, especially circuit design and more microelectronics, as that field is a very growing field, especially with the government laws that have been passed to grow that in the next few years. So we learn about that more. We design circuits, we build some stuff that's going to be applicable in that field, and then we are set up with advisors. So right now it's CSM, Montgomery College, and UMD. I am currently working on a cell capacitive sensor that detects organic cells on the sensor, their population as it grows and changes, so you can digitally monitor that for medical research. So that is a program up at UMD, but I can virtually attend it, or I can go in person as needed. It enables me to be able to be a part of these programs that wouldn't naturally be possible. This DREAM program also sets up a summer internship program. So we are connected with local people. I've been contacted by several groups. KBR, local group down in Lexington Park. We had Northrop Grumman meet with us, different groups like that. Not all DoD based, but a lot of very big influential partners here. So it's been a very experiential program. I've learned a lot, and I'm really happy to be a part of it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Come on up.
Wait, you
Come on
can
up, Kyle.
Hi, I'm Lillian Duckett, and I'm a freshman currently working towards an aerospace engineering degree. And I'm a part of the VEX team, and CSM has been the top-ranked community college for all 3 post-COVID years, and we hope to make that a 4th. We have gone against and outscored many 4-year universities, and CSM was ranked 8th in the world last year for programming skills. We are striving to win tickets at all of our competitions this year, and our goals at the competition this weekend in West Virginia is to place 2nd for programming skills, win a design award, and to win the tournament.
Cool.
Thank
Good.
you.
Nice.
You're too old to be a student.
Make it till I make it. Good morning.
12th grade again this year, huh?
Yeah, right. I keep trying, Commissioner. I keep trying. So, good morning.
Morning.
I definitely want to thank the commissioners in Calvert.
Who are
County.
you?
Oh, I'm sorry. My name is Anthony Olexon. I'm one of the principals here at COA Barrett, which is an engineering firm here in Calvert County. I do land planning and civil engineering. So this is great. I mean, I really appreciate the proclamation and the recognition of this. It's something that we've been working with closely with CSM and other, local high schools and things like that, really to get the word out about what we are and who we do, and that there's a need for it here. As to really, I'm impressed. These 2 young people here with what they're doing already and what they're doing is just amazing. We want to keep promoting that. We want people to know that there's a place for them here in Calvert County to do that as well. So I really just want to thank you, everybody, for the acknowledgement and continued support into the engineering field. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. Come on up. So I was thinking about this morning, and sometimes we always don't think about this, but when we turned on our water this morning to brush our teeth, somebody designed that septic system. How many watched the Super Bowl this weekend? And how about the halftime? When Usher got up there, did you see that stage flex when he was dancing? I wish I could dance like him, but the stage was flexing. So it's a good thing the engineer used that X factor in that. Going to building a house or a garage, when from the footers, why do we put rebar in the bottom third or the top third of the concrete? Is it the soils? Is it the load going on? Go all the way up through the roof trusses. Top cord, bottom cord, retraction, retention, everything's calculated in this. And then when a homeowner wants to put solar panels on their house, another calculation for load. Or the good man upstairs want to put a foot of snow on us today or whatever. So all this we don't often think about, but it's always around us. So engineers play a vital role in everyone's life, each and every day. So whether we see it or not, it's there. So to all the engineers out there today, we say thank you. So with that, I'll read the proclamation here. So, whereas National Engineers Week was established in 1951 and is dedicated to ensuring the diverse, well-educated engineering workforce by increasing understanding of and interest in engineering and technology careers. And whereas engineers around the world aid in shaping the structures of society, preserving, supporting, and advancing the needs of our civilization. And whereas engineers have solved some of the greatest technological challenges and innovative feats, conceptually new ideas that saves lives and structural solutions that help solve significant problems. And whereas Calvert County recognizes and supports Engineers Week, an economic equalizer crucial in the long-term growth of local communities in the state and nation. And whereas National Engineer Week provides Calvert County the opportunity to celebrate and support engineers within our community. Now, therefore, it be proclaimed by the Board of County Commissioners of Calvert County that the week of February 18th through the 24th, 2024 be known as Engineers Week in Calvert County. Be it further proclaimed that we encourage all citizens to join in recognizing the importance contributions of engineers in our daily lives. Thank you. Thank you for all you do.
If you guys want to scooch to the middle a little bit. Thank you so much.
Take care.
The next item on the agenda is an award for by the Employee Recognition Committee. Wes, good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Wes LaPrey, the retiree member of the Employee Recognition Committee, and I'm here today to introduce the Calvert County government's January 2024 Employee of the Month. The Employee of the Month award acknowledges individual excellence for superior job performance, or in this case, a very special individual effort with a team. Our January 2024 Employee of the Month is Linda Jones from Parks and Rec. Linda, why don't you come on up and stand with the commissioners? 2 weeks ago, you recognized a rather large group of employees who came together to produce what we call the Home for the Holidays celebration. Today, we are recognizing Linda Jones for her pivotal role in coordinating the departments, the employees, the overall effort that we came to know and love. Linda Jones serves as Parks and Rec's event and marketing coordinator. That means she manages the Parks and Rec social media, the quarterly activity guide, and if that were not enough, she was the driving force between this Home for the Holidays celebration at King Memorial Park in December. She partnered with Economic Development, Communications and Media Relations, General Services, Technology Services, and of course, Parks and Rec. And the Calvert County Sheriff's was a main player as well. Key feature of the celebration was a parade through downtown Prince Frederick, the tree lighting ceremony at this courthouse. The parade had totaled about 60 entries, floats. An estimated crowd of nearly 2,000 folks witnessed this event and participated. Adults and children alike were treated to pictures with Santa, and her efforts helped to establish this to be an annual destination event for Calvert County residents. Linda's leadership reflected positively on herself, her department, and Calvert County government. For these reasons, Linda Jones is being recognized as Calvert County Government's Employee of the Month for January. Congratulations. I think Shannon, is Shannon here today?
Good morning, Commissioners. Nate Smith, Recreation Division Chief. I'm Linda's supervisor. 4 years ago, we did not have this position of marketing and special events, and Linda has absolutely changed the game for Parks and Recreation. She makes us a better department. She works so well with CMR. We've just raised our game across the board due to her efforts. So I thank you and really appreciate you, and this is a well-deserved award for you. Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. Bob Brenham, Acting Director of Parks and Recreation. Linda, very well-deserved award. I can truly appreciate what you do for not only us, but the citizens of the county. I've been doing this for a while, and I understand how events go. Linda epitomizes ultimate professionalism. Linda is a duck. She is calm on top of the water, but she is paddling beneath. If you were there to see us setting up the parade, you would understand. If you were there 2 years ago for the Halloween drive-through, you would certainly understand. She adapts and overcomes. She directs the staff to include me. I handed out pumpkins. It's not beneath me. I'm happy to do it because Linda said it needed to get done, and I was the one to do it. So I truly appreciate all the efforts that you make to make us successful and to truly represent what a great event and marketing coordinator is. So thank you very much.
Next item on the agenda is appointments. Deputy County Administrator Turner.
Good morning, Commissioners. Linda Turner, Deputy County Administrator. I'm here to present the appointments to you today. The first appointment is the Heritage Committee. Staff recommends you appoint Paul Murdoch, Walter Cofield, and Andrea Thomas, and reappoint Harry Wedewer.
Is there a motion?
Make a motion, we approve these vacancies.
Second?
Have motion and second that we appoint Paul Murdoch, Walter Cofield, and Andrea Thomas, and reappoint Harry Weeder to the, Heritage Committee. Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Next is Owings Town Center Architectural Review Committee. Staff recommends you appoint Jacob Wells as a resident member, not connected with the town center business.
I move that we appoint Jacob Wells as a resident member not connected with the town center business.
Second.
Have motion and second. Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Opposed, motion carries. Sorry.
Next is Economic Development Authority. Staff recommends you reappoint Warren Rice.
I move that we reappoint Warren Rice.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Last is Animal Shelter Advisory Board. Staff recommends you reappoint Anna Vermillion.
I move that we reappoint Anna Vermillion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
That concludes the appointments. Thank you.
Thank you. So that brings us down to consent. We have several items under consent today. Item 1, Department of Finance and Budget, American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA Budget Amendment. Item 2, Department of Parks and Recreation, National Parks and Recreation Association, supporting healthy aging in parks and recreation grant. Item 3, Department of Finance and Budget, award recommendation ITB 2024-024, mixed textile recycling services. Are there any objections to those items under consent today?
None.
Hearing none, those items will be adopted as presented. Brings us to old business. Item 1, Office of the County Attorney, status of state legislation. Good morning.
Good morning, may it please the board. John Mattingly on behalf of the County Attorney's Office. With your permission, I would start with a reading of the memo, bringing this before the board. By way of background, the commissioner system is the oldest form of county government in Maryland. All the legislative and executive powers of the county commissioners come from the state legislature approved by the governor. Consequently, commissioner counties only have those powers specifically granted to them and those implicitly needed to exercise those powers. The board has submitted 3 requests for legislation this session. Discussion. The purpose of this meeting is to update you on the status of your requests addressing local preference, panhandling, and raising the formal bidding threshold. There are also a few noteworthy bills within the enclosed presentation we wish to bring to your attention. Fiscal impact is at this time indeterminable until legislation is passed by the General Assembly and signed into law by the governor. And in conclusion, staff requests that the board provide any direction warranted and appropriate with respect to each bill presented. So with that, I'd like to begin a quick review of the legislation. So, county and citizen requests. This board actually supported legislation for 3 bills: authority to consider adopting a local preference. The second one was solicitation and panhandling, and that was modeled after the Charles County law. And finally, an increase in the amount required to follow formal bidding. The county commissioners also forwarded citizen requests for legislation without taking a position on these requests because they are within the purview of the state, not local government. So the first is HB 766, is titled Calvert County Roadside Solicitation of Money or Donations Prohibition, and is a commissioner request sponsored by the Calvert County delegation. This legislation proposes expanding existing laws prohibiting solicitation in a public road to include Calvert County. A committee hearing is presently scheduled for February 22nd in front of the committee, the Environment and Transportation Committee, and staff requests a letter of support for this bill. The next bill is House Bill 834, is titled Calvert County Ethics Consequences of Conflict of Interest Violations, and is co-sponsored by the Calvert County delegates Mark Fisher and Todd Morgan, Districts 27C and 29C respectively. This legislation proposes requiring that the conflict of interest provisions enacted by Calvert County include provisions related to judicial relief for certain violations of these provisions, and requiring Calvert County to enact a law or regulation to require removal of a county elected official from office for violations of certain conflict of interest provisions. A committee hearing is presently scheduled for February 22nd in front of the Environment and Transportation Committee, and staff also requests a letter of support for this item. House Bill 835 is entitled Calvert County Procurement Local Preference, and is a commissioner request sponsored by the Calvert County delegation. This legislation authorizes the county commissioners to conduct public outreach and have a public hearing to consider an ordinance that establishes a local percentage preference for certain procurement contracts. Presently, the committee hearing is scheduled for February 20th in front of the Health and Government Operations Committee. Staff will also be requesting a letter of support for this bill. Now, part of this presentation, I'd also like to go over a few bills of particular interest. One before the Senate right now is SB 788, and it's entitled Battery Storage and Solar Arrays Safety Training Grant Program and Fund, and is sponsored by Senator McKay of District 1. This legislation intends to provide grants to the Maryland Fire and Rescue Institute to train local fire departments on safety, certain safety associated with lithium battery storage systems installed with solar arrays. The committee meeting for this the committee hearing is actually scheduled for February 21st in the Senate. Before we move on to final direction and comments, there was one other bill that dropped. The last bill came in after the agenda deadline, Senate Bill 589, and it's the Tri-County Council for Southern Maryland Agricultural Development Commission funding increase. And what this does is it's asking for funding increasing from the cigarette restitution fund, which is presently set at $900,000 per year, to be increased to $1 million per year. There was also a sunset provision where our funding actually was to sunset in 2025. That sunset is now being removed. We'll be further asking the board for a letter of support for this item. And with that, that would be our legislative update for the board.
So are there any questions?
None for me. I have a motion for you if you're ready.
Absolutely.
I move that we support House Bill 766, House Bill 834, House Bill 835, Senate Bill 788, and Senate Bill 589, Tri-Council Council for Southern Maryland Agricultural Development Commission funding.
Second.
So a motion and a second that we support HB 766, HB 834, HB 835, SB 788, and SB 589, the Tri-County Council for Southern Maryland Ag Development Commission funding. Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That brings us to new business. Item 1, Department of Finance and Budget, Recreational Resources, Fiscal Year 2025. Staff recommended 6-year capital improvement plan. Ms. Atkinson. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm Dawn Wood, Acting Budget Deputy Director of Finance and Budget. I'm here with Veronica Atkinson, who will be presenting the fiscal year 2025 CIP and 5-year plan for recreational resources. At this time, I'd like to turn the meeting over to Veronica and departmental staff, who will be presenting the information for new business number 1.
Morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Commissioners. Veronica Atkinson, Capital Projects Analyst, Finance and Budget. Background. The Department of Finance and Budget and the Recreational Resources will present a review of their proposed fiscal year FY 2025 6-year capital improvement plan, referred to as CIP, to the Board of County Commissioners. Discussion. The Department of Finance and Budget has reviewed the Recreational Resources FY 2025 through FY 2030 6-year CIP staff recommended budget totaling $98,285,285. I'm thinking that might be a number we want to play today. This allocation encompasses diverse initiatives, including recreational parks, pools, the golf course, and natural resource parks. Fiscal impact. The fiscal impact for recreational resources 6-year CIP proposed budget of $98,285,285 also includes $18,062,285 in grant funding. The county funding portion is broken out below. The pay-go, $6,615,300. Debt or bond, $73,422,200. Excise tax, $185,500. And grants other, $18,062,285. Conclusion, recommendation. This presentation is to prepare the BOCC for the 6-year capital improvement plan costs for recreational resources and seek the BOCC's direction on these projects. Again, today we will review recreational resources, their CIP breakdown by cost for 6 year. We will focus on their FY25 CIP breakdown and review each project with focus. We will review the total FY 2025 CIP expenses and revenue at the end of the presentation. Our next slide is an overview. Parks, pools, and community centers, FY '25 is $20,490,000. Chesapeake Hills Golf Course, FY '25, $320,000. Natural Resources, $1,250,000. We will begin review of recreation resources with parks, pools, and community centers. Commissioners, do you have any questions about any of these projects?
I do. The camping pump-out station at Breezy Point, what does that entail? What is that about?
So good morning, Commissioners. Bob Branham, Acting Director with Parks and Recreation. In the move to transitioning to short-term camping at Breezy Point, there is a need to offer a pump-out station so that campers have easy access to get in and offload and get out of Blackwater, Graywater, rather than use the current contract that we have for twice a week pumping of each individual camper.
Okay.
I do
Oh,
have one quick,
sure.
and combined with that, are we charging for this when they do dump into the facility?
We have not placed anything in the fee and revenue manual. We are currently working as a team on updating the fee and revenue manual, so I would think that the plan would be to reflect it in the cost of camping or to have a fee to dump. But our current fees are a little high for the individualized pump outs. We're on a contract, and it's roughly $50 a pump out that we have to pay. It was put out to bid, and that was the best deal we got. So I would think it actually could be a cost-saving measure to the consumer as well.
Okay, thank you.
At Breezy Point, the $875,000 for parking and drainage, how critical is that need?
I would say extremely. The property holds water, and the plan or the design for this was to mitigate that, not only impermeable, but impermeable surfaces. So and we think that that would be almost a phased approach. I think that that has to be done before you can have a pump out station, because the likelihood is that there would be flooding around the pump station when it's holding water. As an example, right now with all the rain we've received, Breezy Point is holding water,
Okay.
considerable amount of water at this time.
Okay, okay. And let me see. Oh, and Cove Point Pool, master plan implementation, park improvements, $1 million. What does that entail?
There is a plan, and I'm not sure if Division Chief Stillwagon has anything on the pool for Cove Point Park. So I'm joined by our leadership team as well.
Okay.
Because these people have also worked directly with our prior director, Shannon Azal, and they have knowledge of what aspect of the CIP projects that they've worked on directly. But we always have money in the pools to upgrade, to be able to offer new amenities, to address the slides, to address ADA issues. But I don't know if Amanda has more intimate knowledge of that project particularly.
Hi, Amanda Stillwagon, Park and Safety Division Chief. Just to clarify for you, there isn't actually any funding going into the pool project in this fiscal year in '25. We did that redecking project this past year where we replaced the entire pool deck around the pool. So I believe it's in, for the pools, we don't have money in there again until '28, so that'll be more of like a resurfacing and just kind of maintenance of the pools. The $1 million that you're seeing in there now, that is to start building Cove Point Park out per its master plan. But I can tell you all right now, the biggest thing that I see as an issue there is the playground. It's in really, really bad shape. And to put it into perspective, when we replaced the playground at Dunkirk District Park a few years ago, we were just shy of $800,000 then.
Okay.
So that $1 million could be used simply just to replace the playground, put in some new, like bottle filling stations, maybe some new covered area for folks. It really is our main playground in the southern end of the county, and I wish I could tell you how many people used it every day, and I'm going to work on that. We need like a car counter in there because it's a really large number. So
Is that playground currently ADA compliant?
parts of it are, but it's just deteriorating. And I was looking at trying to phase it because we have two different age ranges in there. You know, we've got, it's like the 5 to 9 maybe, and then the larger section, it goes up to 12, 14 years old. But we're actually preparing a really large report that I hope within the next month be able to give to Bob, and he can share with you all just of photos. And I mean, we have parts where we have cones covering because we can't even, we've had to take pieces out and they don't make them anymore. We can't put them back in.
Yeah.
So that's a big part of what that funding would go towards.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you. And let me see, restrooms at Dunkirk Park, they talked earlier about stick build for that. Will $600,000 do the build of the restrooms for Dunkirk Park?
So I can defer to Amanda again, but I can tell you that what's been reported to this point is stick-built will not only be a less expensive cost to the county, but it will also be a faster method to get them placed.
Okay. Hi, Amanda Stillwagon again. So the stick build is actually for the restroom facility that will get that until potentially December of '24. Well, we cannot complete the courts because that prefab bathroom has to be craned in. And we're not going to build brand-new courts and then drive across. So we were like, you know, we don't want to wait until next year to open the facility. So by stick building it, we can finish the courts. If it's not done, I'll put porta-johns in there temporarily until it's done. And actually, we've been working, we had to do a submittal with Penn Avenue Construction, DPW. Jason Levitt has helped me a lot with that project. But I think we're going to come in less than what the prefab restroom was. So it'll give us a little bit more contingency on that project, which is always a good thing.
Good to hear. Thank
Sounds
you.
good, thank you.
Okay.
So I guess I'm kind of lost because I thought that was for the new facility, for the voting facility, for the front of the restrooms currently.
No.
And haven't we budgeted allocation money for the back lots and restrooms?
But
So-
isn't that building going to be at Ward Park Farm?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
So that's what I was thinking.
Yep, so
of,
you're thinking of the early
600,000.
voting. So I've been working with the guys at DPW on that as well. And so we're looking at putting, like, kind of making it multi-use where we can have early voting. I need some restrooms down in that lower lot where Field 3 is. It's just such a hike back up to the restrooms. And we talked about putting it over at Ward, that would be the best location. But my front restroom in Dunkirk by Fields 1, 2, and 3 that we're renovating right now, it is in bad shape. But we currently don't have anything in right now.
But isn't money allocated for the back tennis courts and restrooms?
Yeah, that should have
Yes,
already
that's
been in
the-
the contract.
That's already in?
Correct.
So this is,
Why are you asking for additional money for Dunkirk? It should have already been in the bid for the tennis courts.
So we're confusing bathrooms. So the tennis court is getting a brand-new bathroom. That is what is being stick-built. The $600,000 that you see there, I was supposed to get that this year to replace the bathroom in the front of Dunkirk.
and that, so is that currently working or is that?
That money got taken to build the pickleball courts. So we re-entered it back in because that restroom still needs to be replaced. And then this early voting with a restroom, that's a separate project. Because they originally wanted to try to fit it in Dunkirk, but it's not going to fit.
So this is the front ones in?
This is just to replace, to be honest with you, with that amount, I'm not sure. I mean, we're on a septic system there. We may just be remodeling.
Okay, yes, okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
And don't run. So, don't run. So the 600,000 is for a stick-built or for a modular?
The
No.
600,000 is, let's remove the word stick-built. Stick-built is only specific to the back bathroom. I have no
Gotcha.
idea how I'm going to do the front bathroom yet. I haven't gotten there.
So you've just plugged in 600,000?
Because that's what was there originally. I think it was 650. So when we pulled the money for the tennis court, or excuse me,
Right.
pickleball courts, we took that and we took the pathway project, which brought us right to about 1.2.
Right. And you don't know at this time if you're going to have to replace the septic system?
No, sir, I don't.
Okay, so it's just a swag.
Yeah, the bathroom is deteriorating. You know, we have members of the park board that bring it to my attention frequently. I mean, we clean and clean and clean, but we can only do so much. So, you know, it may be a situation of if we don't have to replace the septic, we can go in and just put new features, new toilets, new sinks, new mirrors, you know, try to make it better.
So before you run. So it's my understanding that we're working on a project for Dominion Energy Park, but I don't see any money in there for any time until 29.
Yep.
So
So
the
the
project
money
we're
that-
working on now is not gonna happen until 29?
No, no, no. So the money that's currently in the Dominion project right now, right, which is 8 and some change that's in there. Does it not show the prior funding?
Yes.
9-3.
Yep,
Yes, and some of that has been spent because that has been our A&E,
Right.
right? So where we sit with Dominion currently, I met with Public Works 2 weeks ago, I think it was, and we're looking to have an on-call come in and do the mass grading plan for us, and then put the rest of the project out to bid. Because what that allows us to do is get moving on it, right? We should be able to have the grading permit according to Public Works. We should be able to have it in 6 weeks, 8 weeks, the grading permit. The building permit, we will not have until probably the fall of this year to be able to start. And as you know, the bid process in itself
But
is.
that's still in 25.
Yes, I'm spending already money. I don't have any new money coming into the project until the end.
But don't
which-
you have to show that you're spending the money in 20, I understand you have the funding in the bank, but don't you have to show that you're gonna spend it in 25? No?
No, not if it's already in there, because it was already approved.
Yeah.
Okay,
And we know that that's not our money.
right.
Well, I mean, it is, but it is
Okay, just for
now.
the public, what we're talking about is that when Dominion bought the property on the west side of Route 4 at Cove Point Road for a laydown area for the big project that they did 10 years ago, or however long ago it was, and when that project was completed, they donated the 150 acres to us, so it would be developed into a community park. They also gave us $9 million to help develop that park. So the $9 million is in the bank. We're finally getting to a point where we've done a master plan. We're gonna
We've
start,
done construction documents.
we're gonna start work on a project. My only question today was, I thought we had to show that expenditure in the year, but you're the experts and I'm not, so.
Yes, no, we only show what they're requesting as new
Okay,
funding.
okay. Thank you.
Anything else?
So, one more on Breezy Point, the fencing, is that replacement or new?
No, just replacing existing fencing that's deteriorating, yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
thank you.
Where's your site gonna be for this pump out station at Breezy?
It was originally identified to be just, I guess that would be northwest of the maintenance sheds, right at the picket fencing and split rail fencing and the part of the overflow, because it has to have access to pull in and out for the campers.
Straight holding tank?
I actually don't know what the design was for that. I think that's the case, yes, sir.
Okay.
Moving on to our next slide, this also covers parks, pools, and community centers. Commissioners, do you have any questions on these projects?
On the Hall Aquatic Center, the roof replacement, the $7 million, I understand that has to be done. The roof is in critical condition, but does that also include the HVAC in that pricing?
Yes, ma'am, it is
It does.
for HVAC
It's
as well
for
as roof.
both?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. And Kings Landing pool improvements, what kind of usage do we have at Kings Landing Pool? How many people do you think come in and out of there? Is
I
it,
can get you the accurate numbers. We
Okay.
do not reach capacity at Kings Landing Pool.
We
We no
don't.
longer allow camps to come in there because that inundates the experience for the user. So we use
Okay.
camps both at the indoor aquatic center as well as Cove Point Pool. So we do not reach capacity. We did not close for capacity at all. It has a higher increased usage probably during the swim team practices and things of that nature. So there is usage daily, but it's nominal.
okay. That's an old pool. What kind of condition is it in?
It is in need of repair. We are currently addressing near what we anticipate to be the drains to be a leak.
Okay.
We have a litany of things to address there, not only with the shelling of the pool, but also an updating. And we're not even sure. I've done the research on the pool. It originated as a YMCA facility. It predates 1950, and that's the best we can figure. We haven't been able to pinpoint when, but it is in need of aesthetic update as well as function.
And the Marley Run parking lot erosion, that is really bad, isn't it?
So,
I
as I understand it,
understand.
yes, ma'am, and again, so Division Chief Stillwagon was our park planner, now the division chief, and she's our CIP coordinator for the department, so she worked intimately on most of our projects directly with our prior director.
And she runs from the mic every chance she gets.
Which is surprising because she doesn't avoid conversation.
Amanda Stowagan, Park and Safety Division Chief. So to explain Marley Run to you, the way that we entered that project in is you'll see that in prior funding, we had the $100,000. That was to cover planning costs. And then we have the money in there totaling the $2 million to cover overall stormwater. It's a topography is tough at that park. Those fields are used every single day, all day. So really what this project is going to entail is there is some existing stormwater management there. I've met out there with JR a few times to take a look at, what is functioning, what isn't. One of the biggest things we got to do is we got to pave that parking lot. We have to get curb and gutter in, and we've got to get water into pipes and get it out and daylight it past the edge of the fields, because my lower fields, the back sides of them, are eroding away, and so we need to get the water off of them. Now, last year, I don't know if you were here or not, but we did remove some vegetation on the back sides of the fields. And part of the stipulation of getting that vegetation removal permit was that I mapped all environmental features. So we did have a recent plat done. We mapped all environmental features so we know what we're dealing with out there. Really, it's just getting to work and getting the work done.
Well, 500,000 is in 25, and in 26, 1,500,000. What is the 500,000 for? Is that going to really get you started and help to decrease this erosion? I've not seen it, but I understand that everything's just sliding down.
So I think step one with that $500,000 is we're really going to be addressing, I don't know how recently you've been out there, but you'll see that we have a lot of rock conveyances. We need to get that gone. We need to get all of that rock out of there. We have a lot of ground bees that come in every year. Folks really, and it's nerve-wracking. You see these giant bees flying around. So we're going to work on getting that out and use the $500,000 to address a lot of the existing stormwater management systems that are in place. And the future funding will really be what will cover paving, curbing, and getting all of the water from the upper parking lot out.
Correcting everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't want to lose it. I mean, it's a huge resource for us. The fields are beautiful. It's just, once again, it's just the way it was built with the topography, and it's, some of even the hillsides are getting rippled really bad from the mowers running on them. So we had some trees removed out there. We're doing everything we can just to keep it
Save
going.
it. Thank you.
Sure.
Are we going to add any new parking spaces with this renovation? Or are we just?
So we potentially could. I don't know how recently you've been there, but as you turn in on the far end, we kind of have a turnaround, and we've got a couple of sheds there. I think we'll absolutely be able to fit some additional parking down there once we rework that whole lot. We have some dead space down there, which we'll need to leave some, just so that we have a place to put mulch, or we have a place to put infield mix when we have it offloaded, if we're putting it on the fields, that sort of thing. But we don't need as much space that is currently there.
Thank you.
What's the 154 at Ward Farm?
So right now, that's a revolving funding. So we just prepared a scope of work. I believe it was sent out last week. We spoke with CJ, and we are working on getting the maintenance shop built. I need a maintenance shop really bad. The guys are running out of barns in the house right now. And so what we're going to do is not create the wheel. We're going to take the maintenance shop that was designed for Dominion, and we're going to have it put on a new site plan at Ward, and it'll go where it shows on the master plan. And then the rest of the money will be used to start going towards the Overlook Pavilion for natural resources. But currently, we are waiting on new dugouts to come in, and we're working on a 10-hole disc golf course. We put in a new tot lot this year. We hope to put in a covered pavilion for the chess packs programs that do a lot of field trips there for our elementary kids in the county. So that money is getting spent, yes.
How much of it is the gambling money that we get every year? What is given to us?
I don't have that breakdown in front of me. Do
It's
you,
like,
Amanda? It's
one-
probably about a
It's like
million.
1.5.
Yeah. It's, each year, of course, it fluctuates. It's
Okay.
based on what we have. We usually just keep 1.5 in there, and I always go and get CCYROF money before we use our money, so.
So there's no debt to us for
Um,
25?
No, there wouldn't
Okay.
be.
I was checking into this, and on 27 and 28, it appeared that we were only getting 500,000, and then we were adding 500,000 to it. Why did that occur?
Veronica, that is the way that it is in the spreadsheet, and I think we need to look into that because I don't have
Okay.
the perfect answer for you on that.
Okay.
I noticed that as well.
Because there's no reason the money's going to drop in those 2 years and then come back.
Correct.
During
Yeah.
COVID, it dropped, but it's back up. I think
Right.
it's a little over 1.5.
I do too.
Yeah. I think it's
But
like
I did
1.7
see
or
the way, I
1.8.
was just looking
Yeah,
at
the number's
that.
going up. I
Yeah.
mean, right,
COVID, it
during
fell under a
COVID,
million.
right, it was a little lower, but, I mean, not still, we didn't suffer that much from
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I think last year was 1.7 or 1.8, so.
So everything in Ward Farm Recreation and Nature Park, that is given to us. That is no expense to the county.
Correct, I
Wow.
submit for, I mean,
Excellent.
we're supposed to carry a little bit, we're supposed to put some skin in the game,
Okay.
so to speak. We have,
Mhm.
I've used the A&E, we paid for that, but for right now, the majority of it, I pull out a CCYROF first,
Okay.
and then relook at it, but no, I'm not trying to,
Seems like a couple of years ago, we put money in because they were doing the bathrooms and they were doing a lot of work at one time.
right, when
And
we
the
first
field lighting
kicked off,
project.
right,
That was a big
Okay.
one.
Right.
yeah,
So we did put a little money in.
yes.
And now that's where the building's going to go? Because I kept hearing Dunkirk. Now it's going to Ward?
Yeah, so, I mean, in my opinion, as the division chief of parks, Dunkirk is packed on a Saturday. Or through the week, if I tried to use that upper restroom area to accommodate early voting and parking for those 3 fields, every middle school game is played at Dunkirk for all the middle schools on the northern end. I just really don't think we would be able to meet the need of our community as well as if we put it at a ward. We just have more space over there. It is a new park. We can put it where it makes sense, and we can allow it to serve more than just early voting. It could give us an opportunity to have another covered area. Maybe we can rent it out for parties, or, it makes more sense. at
I agree
Ward.
with you, but somebody kept saying, no, we wanted it at Dunkirk. I don't know who that was, but somebody.
It was
And
not this lady. It was not me.
No, yeah. But it does. There's more room at Ward Farm. It's easier getting down and out of.
Yes, I got it. That lower parking lot is
Right.
huge, we can place it where
Right.
it makes the most sense there.
But we don't have that in the CIP?
The
Building?
election,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's coming out of, not me.
it's facilities, it was in the facilities.
It's in the facilities budget?
Yes,
Okay.
I think that was the first one, second one we did. Yes,
The drags, you know.
But you bring up a good point where you play all those middle school games there. There's a lot of fields not being utilized at the schools. So, and there's a lot of stuff gets put back on Parks and Rec. I mean, you guys had to do tennis for 4 years down at Cove Point, all because we didn't know about it. I mean, once we knew about it, we made some inquiries, then they got it fixed. I mean, that's unacceptable, and that came from an email from a lady that I believe her kid goes to Great Mills. So, a lot of this burden, we need to pick up the phone and go, where's the disconnect? Because you shouldn't play middle school baseball at the middle school, but then you can't use a field there. Just kinda
Well,
a
you
little
practice
unnatural.
there. They
You
practice there
you
all
practice,
week.
but you
Correct,
don't.
but then you come and play in the park,
We
yeah.
also use the middle school fields, we being Parks and Recreation through our youth sport provider agreement. So we actually do allocate field space at the middle schools during the week, but the middle schools do not play their games there.
That's what I mean, and that's,
Yeah,
that's,
well,
that's
the
a lot
middle
of weight.
schools have the fields until like 5:30, 6 o'clock. So depending on time of year, you might get a practice in after, because you don't have any lighting,
Right,
at any of the school fields.
but that's a lot of weight on the weekends.
Now, the middle school games are all played through the week, and they actually start at 4:30. So that,
So you don't have
they're
anything,
early.
you don't have anything at all on the weekends? No, any?
No school sports.
No school
No,
stuff,
the
okay.
weekends are full with recreation, yeah, but the schools, no, they're not impacting, the weekends.
Okay. So I mean, because I know you said you had an influx on the weekends. Where's most of it coming from? Is it travel? Or just all Parks and Recs programs?
So our weekends, yeah, I mean, is all our recreation or our YSP program. So we're coming into the spring season, you're gonna be heaviest with baseball and softball, but Parks and Rec still offers a soccer program. There's flag football organizations that use it, there's lacrosse organizations. I mean, Nate Smith would be better to speak to all of the programming if you have question, more
So
in
Ward
depth.
Park's gonna be well used when it gets going, to take that weight off then, maybe is what you're saying.
Yeah, already is, yeah. I mean, at the end of last year, I mean, we were surviving because the goal mouse were just, it got used every day, all day.
Gotcha.
Anything
Any other
else?
questions? You can sit down now
She'll get a break for a moment.
for a minute.
Our next slide is Chesapeake Hills Golf Course. Do you have any questions, commissioners?
Well, I know the course and drainage improvements are very important because this is a moneymaker for us. But when I was looking through the funding sources, I found that through 27, that's PAYGO money, but when we get into 27, added with PAYGO with 27 are grants, and 28 is a grant, and 29 is a grant. We already have those grants, or are we hoping to have them
No, ma'am, that's in anticipation of applying for.
in
Yes, ma'am.
anticipation? Okay.
So
Thank
on the
you.
golf course,
Yes, sir.
where does the driving range lighting come into play in the CIP?
So it is listed in the CIP. So like I explained earlier, I brought all the experts with me. So our golf course general manager is there. He may have it. If not, our special facilities division chief is with me. Do you remember the year that is in? It's not in the upcoming year.
I didn't know lighting was in the CIP, to be honest. I hadn't seen it. Is it in there? I've looked before.
I didn't see it.
We
I
have
ju-
park lighting, that's.
No, but the driving range
Yeah.
itself.
I don't.
You can come to the microphone.
You want to just have a seat up here?
Amanda?
You can have my chair.
I'll move.
Currently, the lighting for the driving range is listed in fiscal year 27.
27. And the drainage is on what hose or what area of the golf course?
Drainage is ongoing. The priority, and Mike is here as well, the priority is, I think, hole number 8, going through the driving range, across number 1, and into the pond. But there are many drainage projects identified for multiple holes there.
How much is the lighting going to cost for the driving range?
Oh, yeah, right.
You know offhand,
I
ballpark?
do not know offhand, no, sir.
I don't think Amanda heard.
Here she
Here
goes.
she comes. No.
Oh, I'm sorry, page 6.
She's shuffling her
Good morning.
papers.
No, different.
Kirsten Perry, Special Facilities Division Chief. So we have budgeted right now for $300,000 for grants, and then PAYGO is in there for $50,000. So $350,000 total for the lighting.
For the driving range?
Correct.
A lot of lights. Commissioner Cox has an opinion.
No, I just just we have a very nice facility that we're getting ready to open up, and we need to do everything we can, and that's why I was trying to get the priorities straight on
Yes, sir.
drainage, lighting, where do we need to put our money at that location.
So what is allocated for drainage for this year will definitely address the initial project that we discussed, 8 through the driving range and through number 1. But again, there are many, so I think that would roughly pan out to be around $70,000 for the initial project. But I think they can address a fair amount of the drainage issues with what's listed for this upcoming fiscal year. Yes, sir.
Commissioner Cox believes that lighting that driving range could be a great revenue enhancement for the facility.
As do we.
Yeah, it will. Because it gets dark so early and we still got the weather, but it's dark 4:30, 5 o'clock-ish, and we're starting to close up shop where if we had just even that portion, it would be, minimal labor. And, I mean, we have a machine that they can just put money in and kicks the balls out. So, I mean, you know what I mean? It's just, and I'm sorry, maybe I missed something. When do you foresee that being
27.
installed?
It was listed in 27.
3
Maybe
years out?
Maybe if we did the math, it might pay for itself. We would move it up. What do you think, Commissioner Cox?
Yes, sir, absolutely.
They could
Would
put
you
it
like a
together.
motion?
Yeah, they could put it together with an ROI. I mean, try to see projections on it based on other courses.
I don't play golf, but Commissioner
Neither
Cox
do I.
does. and
He went to his very own Top Golf down there.
There you go.
That's what we were saying, the Southern Maryland Topgolf.
There you go.
Thank you for looking
Just a
into
thought.
that.
Absolutely, yes, sir, we certainly will, and we'll report back.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Maybe.
Thank you.
Our next slide covers natural resources. Commissioners, do you have any questions regarding these projects?
Well, for Battle Creek, are we getting any grant money for the rebuild and the exhibit renovation?
Hi, it's Karen Molinas. I'm the Division Chief for Natural Resources. The renovations of the Nature Center is primarily going to be insurance reimbursement due to the fire.
Okay.
We're still in sort of negotiation with what the plans will be and what Legit, who's our insurance company, will fund. So that's the intent there. For the exhibits, some of the exhibit will be funded through insurance because of the fire damage, but we will be looking for grants to help support that as we go for restoring the exhibits.
Thank you.
Sure.
You should hold on.
Okay.
So at Flag Pond, you have 500,000, 25, and 2.7 and 26.
Mhm.
What's that intended to do? Because I thought I'd heard a lot higher number.
It was 8 million.
Yeah, that's my number I heard.
Right, so the $500,000 is the grant that we just recently applied for, and hopefully we'll hear that we did get it, but we can't, we're just crossing our fingers on that. So that's what that 500,000. And then the 2.7 is based off of the 2022 estimate, which was 1.7 million to do the 1,500 feet. And so we were asked to put some inflation escalations onto that price. So it would be for the Living Shoreline project.
So we had heard, as Commissioner Ireland said, 8 million. What was the 8 million for?
That is to go all the way to the end of the eroding area, so go all the way through the end of Phase 3. The 2.7 is Phase 1 and Phase 2.
So phase 1 goes from the Long Beach property 1,500 feet south?
Phase 1 is 500 feet, and then Phase 2 is 1,000 feet to get to the dredging channel. And then from the dredging channel to the end, which I do not have a distance on that, would be Phase 3. So
All right.
that's where the 8 million comes from.
So you've heard me say many times, I don't worry about anything beyond the current year, but you don't have anything in the out years for the other phases.
Right, we don't, because we really need to get this first one done to figure out, because one of the designs could be that with this work being done, it may actually protect Phase 3. So we could look at putting money into out years. Right now, it really would be a wild guess as to what that cost would be. So it's certainly something we could put in for 30,
So is the design complete?
The design for the first 500 is complete, and the dredging, and I think Department of Public Works is working on refining that for the modifications of our permits.
Okay, if you don't mind me asking, who did the design for the first 500 feet?
It was Coastline Designs.
Okay. Is that the same company that did Breezy Points?
I don't know who did Breezy, no.
Soil conservation.
Yeah, Soil Conservation did Breezy Point.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
what was that?
Commissioner Arlen thought maybe soil conservation subbed it out to Coastline. That's what he was.
No,
No, I didn't see, but I thought they had subbed it out. I didn't realize
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Right. Yeah, Coastline Design is a company that does the shorelines throughout the state. Is pretty well recommended by the state shorelines through Maryland Department of Natural Resources.
And you're hoping for a grant, but if the grant doesn't come through, then that's on us.
Yes.
And that's only to do how many feet?
Oh,
The first phase?
The first phase is 500 feet.
500 feet.
Yeah.
3 million don't get you very far, does it?
No,
Shoot.
yeah, it's been 10
That's
years
only
in the
100 and some
work
yards.
making too, so
but that place
every
is
year it's a
constantly
little
getting
bit more, so.
So what is that, I don't want to get off subject too much, but what is that, what does that project look like? Is it rock or is it?
Yeah, it's a combination of the rock breakwaters that are separated, so they're not solid, with sand and vegetation behind it. If you know the living shoreline that was done in North Beach, it would be a very similar kind of structure there.
Gotcha.
So the groins are going offshore?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes. And I know that one of the things that Public Works is looking at is the way it was designed, the breakwaters are fairly close together, and looking at separating them, which would also help with some of the cost issues.
Karen is an avid grant person.
Good for you.
Right.
That's we
This-
can usually depend on her covering a lot.
This project has not been very successful for grants, unfortunately, but hopefully with Jessie Obereit, our volunteer and grants coordinator, she wrote a really amazing grant, and the state was very receptive to what we were asking, so.
And there's no federal grants for shoreline protection?
We have not found any, yeah.
I'm
'Cause
thinking
didn't they
if there
just-
are, they will find
Did
it.
just make the Chesapeake Bay a national treasure or something?
Yeah.
But they don't want to protect it?
Commissioner, Mark Wells, County Administrator. Karen, does that not also, is it dependent upon whether the waters are navigable or not?
That's related to the dredging.
Okay,
So
for the
we-
grant for the dredging?
Right, so we are not able to get the dredging grants because our dredge channel is not a navigation channel. It is truly a reclamation of the sand that's been deposited to use on the site.
So are dredging permits an issue there?
It should not be an issue. We have not gotten the dredging permit yet. That's where the project stopped. The most recent, last year, it stopped at getting those permits. And that channel would refill once we were done with that project. We would not maintain that dredging channel.
Okay, so the sand in phase one, is that coming from dredge, or are we buying that sand?
From the dredging, that's
Good.
what the plan
Okay.
was for, yes.
Good.
Any other questions? Thank you.
I really appreciate your support on this project. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, it doesn't want to go any further. It wants to stop here.
There we go.
Oh, yeah, this slide never shows up. It's fine, thank you. We can just go ahead and wrap up our presentation today, and I will see you on February 27th to review CMR, Technology Services, Town Centers, and the Enterprise Fund. Thank you, Commissioners, very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. That brings us to item 2 under new business, Department of Planning and Zoning, Red Hall property change in designated planning category request. Director Cook. Morning.
Good morning,
Morning.
Commissioners.
Morning.
Mary Beth Cook, Director of Planning and Zoning. With me is Tay Harris, our long-range planner. So we are going to begin with Tay reading the memo.
Okay. A request to change a designated planning category for 17.15 acres of a 49.9 acre parcel from the Resource Conservation District to the Town Center has been submitted to the Department of Planning and Zoning. The property is located at 10350 Ward Road in Dunkirk. It is also identified as tax map 6, parcel 450. The applicant proposes to utilize the land area as future septic sewer effluent drainage fields to better serve the Dunkirk Gateway shopping area, or center. The 17.15 acres currently adjoined, but is outside of the Dunkirk Town Center, and will require an amendment to the 2019 Calvert County Comprehensive Plan as amended in 2022. The proposal is consistent with the Calvert County Comprehensive Plan's vision to promote sustainable development, encourage economic stability and an enduring economic base, and provide for health and safety. Since Planning and Zoning is updating the Dunkirk Town Center Master Plan, the proposal must be submitted for consideration as part of the update. Pursuant to the Maryland Annotated Code, Land Use Article, Section 3-303, the Dunkirk Town Center Master Plan must be consistent with the Calvert County Comprehensive Plan. Prior to considering the proposal, as part of the Dunkirk Town Center Master Plan update, amendment to the Calvert County Comprehensive Plan is required. If the Calvert County Comprehensive Plan is amended to accommodate the proposal, staff will then incorporate the necessary map changes to the draft Calvert County zoning ordinance update and the draft Dunkirk Town Center Master Plan and zoning ordinance updates. At this time, fiscal impacts are to be determined, and the Department of Planning and Zoning is requesting direction from the Board of County Commissioners whether to initiate an amendment to the 2019 Calvert County Comprehensive Plan as amended, 2022, for this request.
So this request, we're just asking for your direction to move forward. It's going to take a lot of work, a lot of meetings, and a lot of opportunity for the public to weigh in. So the request came in. We're going to propose to start with changing an amendment to the comprehensive plan, then followed by all of the other plans that have to come in order. But there again, there'll be lots of opportunity for the public to weigh in, public hearings each step of the way.
So what this is a backup drain field for the shopping center.
That's correct. And
It's in anticipation if there's a failure, they would, this company that wants to include this in the comprehensive plan, they want to have this in place. Now, how do we prevent any building on the remaining property?
So just a little backstory. They don't have land for a backup. That's the main reason that they're moving forward with this. And they did perk the land, so it's our understanding that would support such a use. And they are proposing to subdivide, because it's a larger parcel and they only need the 17.15 of the almost 50 acres. Part of that subdivision process will be a record plat, and on that record plat, we're going to have them place a restriction that this is the only use of that property. Since we're putting it into the town center, we don't want to encourage additional development. We want it to be for that use only, for the sewer.
Now, have you had that conversation with Mr. Gardner?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, with his engineer as well.
With his engineers. And there was a proposal at one point to donate the rest of the property back to the county. Have those talks been ongoing?
There's been conversation. Nothing's been memorialized for that, but certainly it's right next to the north side of the Ward Farm Park, so, I mean, there may be an opportunity to partner with that.
How confident are you that if we agree to this, in theory, I think he's very smart to plan for the future.
Yes.
And with the land perking, and to have that availability would be great. But how confident are you that we can get an ironclad agreement where we have no additional building?
We'll absolutely work with the county attorney's office on the language that goes on the record plat.
So how many pad sites have already been approved? I know that whole shopping center is not built out all the way. How many pad sites have been approved? And does the planning for those put their septic usage on their current field?
That's a good question. Every time a plan comes in, there would be an analysis, whether or not the existing system could support that, but I can get you the numbers. I want to say there's at least 3 vacant properties still left. They may have site plans completed, but we'll get that information.
When you say vacant properties, is that 3 separate pad sites?
Yes, yeah, because they subdivided the entire development, so there may be 3 lots that have not yet been developed on.
Okay, and they're on the north side or south side of what's
So
currently there?
Backward Road, when you turn onto Town Center Boulevard, they're in that area.
As soon as you make the turn?
Yes.
Okay, so they're south, okay. Which puts them closer to the existing field?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
And I echo what Commissioner Grasso said earlier about, as long as this is for repair usage, because I understand, I think they're on the last leg of the current system. So anything we can do to help support future use and repairs, I'm all for.
Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be imperative that if we agree to move forward, that the citizens understand that there's language that locks that property, so there cannot be, because the total property is 30-some acres, 49 acres.
Almost 50.
That thing's got to be locked up tight. There's no way, because we're going to hear from our neighbors in Dunkirk.
Right.
And so our attorney needs to make sure that the language is such that that property,
I think we can even put language in the comprehensive plan, the expansion as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we could start with we are expanding the town center for this reason only.
yeah. As long as they understand that. Because you just said, if the system fails, he's got nowhere else to go. I don't know what that does to the shopping center. So, it's going to need some kind of an outlet.
Absolutely.
So. All right. Any other
Motion?
questions? Motion?
You need a motion?
Sure.
So I move that we authorize staff to initiate the process of getting public input on the requested amendment to the Calvert County Comprehensive Plan for the Red Hall property in Dunkirk.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion on that motion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
That brings us to item 3 under new business, Department of Planning and Zoning, Consolidated Transportation Program Calvert Priorities for FY 25 through 30. Morning. Good morning. Happy birthday.
A little late.
No, I thought you said it goes for like a month.
You're right. I still have my decorations up, so.
So I'm not late. Happy birthday.
Do you want us to read through the memo or just kind of jump into the discussion?
You can probably just jump in because we've been through this before.
Okay. So, thank you. I'm Jessica Gattano, Planner 3 with the Department of Planning and Zoning.
Jason Levitt, Project Engineer with Department of Public Works, Capital Projects Division.
So just for some background and context before we jump into the priority lists. So each year, the county submits a transportation priority project letter to the Maryland Department of Transportation for annual consideration to be included in the state's upcoming 6-year capital budget, or the CTP. After this past year, the Secretary of MDOT visited this past fall. There were additional financial deficiencies that were announced. So this makes completing this process a little bit easier. We'll just be asking MDOT to support previously prioritized projects and that remain underfunded or on hold. Since the additional funding shortfall was announced, MDOT has confirmed that the Maryland 231 safety corridor improvements will remain funded at this time, and staff will add verbiage in our priority letter to express that these improvements remain a top priority for Calvert County.
So is that for all three projects that were on 231?
Yes.
Yes, all three. Yep, we've been working
Well, that's good
with
news.
MDOT.
That is good.
So today we're here asking for direction before we complete this year's priority letter for FY 2025 to 2030. And so as we go through the list that was attached, just please note that these are not placed in any sort of order of priority at this time. We broke them down on the list that you have in front of you between major and minor transportation projects. I do want to make a note that the transit transfer station is not over $10 million. That was an error on my part. It was more of this is a major project top priority. So as we go through creating the letter, we're actually going to organize it a little bit differently. So than last year, just not major and minor. But we'll go through the.
So the only two major projects are the Thomas Johnson Bridge and the Route 24 Stokely Road.
For the transportation, yeah, and we're just going to have a separate section for transit funding. So we have the Thomas Johnson Bridge and Maryland 4. We'll be asking for preliminary engineering and rights-of-way acquisitions for phases 3A and 3B, and that will be up from Stokely Road to about Auto Drive.
Fox Run to Auto Drive.
How much is that total project, Jason?
Just that section? So that's a good question. I think in the past, I mistakenly said it was 190 million, but there was clarification that was offered to us throughout the Chapter 30 process because when we applied just for phases 3A and 3B, they still score the entire project. So the $190 million that I've stated previously was for the entirety of the project. I do not have a number specifically for phases 3A and 3B, but we can get that for you.
I thought the last time they were in here, they told us 40-some million?
It was up there.
44, 45 million. Just from Fox Run to,
Next on the list, we have, let's see. I'm sorry, did I just say Thomas Johnson Bridge and then 3A, 3B?
You did.
I did,
Yes.
thank you. Okay, well, Thomas Johnson Bridge. We'll be asking for the preliminary engineering rights-of-way acquisitions, both for Thomas Johnson Bridge and the Maryland 2-4, 3A, and 3B. Sorry about that.
So do we have any right-of-ways that we have to acquire for the bridge?
Not on the Calvert side.
Right. Right now, Calvert side has the 4 lanes that is needed. So in our priority letter last year, we
Depends
did.
on where they place the bridge.
Well,
Sorry?
Depends on where they actually place the bridge.
I
where
think
it's-
they got it covered.
Yep. So in our letter last year, we did have a little section where we supported St. Mary's priority to start working on their side, the improvements.
I don't think we're gonna have to worry about that. But
True.
And I think it was FY '23, there was funding for a feasibility study for the transit transfer station. This year, we'll be asking for planning and design once again. We will continue to ask for the safety enhancements on the Maryland 231 intersections. We'll also be asking for a sidewalk extension on Maryland 765, which is on Main Street. It will be continuing down between Oldfield Road and Calvert Town Road. We will continue to ask for adaptive signal control in Prince Frederick Town Center and Dunkirk Town Center.
And can you just expand on that so that everybody listening might know what we're talking about with these signals and what problems we're having with them?
So the intent, I believe, with both adaptive and the act of synchronizing all of the signals is to enable people to, if you hit the first green light and you go the speed limit, you should in theory be able to hit all the green lights moving forward, instead of hitting one green light and then stopping at the next one and then maybe going through the next one and getting stopped again. It all has to do with the efficiency of traffic flow.
Correct.
Thank you. We are requesting some safety improvements and shoulder improvements at Maryland 4 and Anne Arundel County, which is Maryland 258 and Maryland 4. Traffic calming measures on Maryland 4 South coming into Dunkirk to provide a crosswalk at Town Center Boulevard.
Remind us again what a traffic calming measure is.
Honestly, we're gonna ask them to figure that out. So we had
There's a
discussions.
whole list.
It's to be determined.
Yes.
Signage, lighting, you know, an additional flashing light warning of the upcoming intersection, additional signage, possibly with lighting also. There's a lot of different options.
The notorious rumble strips.
Just traffic calming is an interesting term.
So this came about at a public meeting and a couple inquiries that we received from the public when we were updating the Dunkirk master plan. Right now, there's no way to get across Route 4, and, you know,
Legally, on foot.
thank you. But people are doing it, so we want to do it, if possible, in a safe way, and the only way to do it is to slow vehicles down when they're coming into the county. And I know that after discussions with SHA, that's the only way that they would be comfortable putting one in.
Because, you know, we have a public park on one side of the road, you have fast food restaurants on the other side of the road. For some reason, State Highway is reluctant to put a crosswalk in there, but people are crossing anyway, and all we're trying to do is make it safer.
Well, the reluctancy is because that's the first traffic light as you're coming into the county, so.
Another calming method could be just decreasing the speed limit on Route 4 at an earlier point.
Like Yellow Branch Road or something.
Yes.
Just, somebody's gonna get hit one of these days, and we're trying to provide walkable
Overhead
communities.
crosswalk.
Ooh, a
wow.
flyover?
Wow.
That's an option.
Probably the safest option for there, but
Not very
a
cost
lot of money.
effective.
Be the cost, most costly. See, we are getting a bridge.
Right.
We're gonna get bridges, just not the kind you're thinking about.
See the other one, probably.
Except for the over $10 million projects, historically, how successful are you all with making highway improvements? Like 231, I know people have complained about that for years and years and years, and I'd really like to see 231 get taken care of. But how successful, because money's involved, you know, money is your major factor. So do you get 4 projects done a year, 5 done a year? How successful are you?
So Commissioner Grasso, it's a good question, and I think you're exactly right. And, I mean, I've worked for the county for almost 5 years and been associated with this process for about 3. And the determining factor every time is the state's budget, ultimately. It does help if you can attach to it a safety component, because there are, or if realistically, I don't say attach to it a safety component, but if safety is a primary reason for the improvements themselves, you have a much better chance of getting it than maybe just a congestion situation. But there's multiple different factors that combine into it, but ultimately, it really
It's
is
money.
dependent on state funding.
Money,
Yes.
yeah.
How much money they got to spread around?
I will say, I've only been a part of this for about 2.5 years or so, but DPW works very hard with, and when they go to their quarterly meetings, things that aren't on this list, they will ask for, and SHA does go above and beyond to take care of things. For example, the four-way stop at Maryland 506 and 508, that's not a major project, but it is major for us down here. There were multiple accidents, and we're hoping that alleviates that. So it's not on this list, but it is hopefully making a difference.
I have something you can ask for, it doesn't cost a dime. Better quality control over paving projects.
That's on our
on
list.
the list.
Excuse me.
Not
Because
this
don't you worry,
list,
when they come
but-
back again, they're gonna hear about Brooms Island Road.
Yeah, but the state's committed to slurry, haven't they?
Not on Brooms Island Road. They paved that. They should have slurried it.
Yeah, I thought that's what we had, didn't you say
They're doing,
last
it
time
depends
they were-
on the traffic volume on the roads where they're doing some slurry,
And slurry's horrible, so.
but,
We will make them aware before they come.
But they did a good
before
job
they go.
striping.
yeah, when they painted it, but it's the paving, that's.
Was it the striping
a mess.
all over the place?
Well, they put the tape, they put temporary
Yeah.
tape down, and then the cold and the salt and the snow plows, and every day there's a new, if you follow the line, oh my God.
You'd have an
Remember
accident.
4 in Prince Frederick when they first did that? Remember that? It looked like S's going through there.
My kids came up from South Carolina right after they did that, and my son-in-law said, "Who was driving the striping truck?" Because at one point it's way over in the shoulder and it's back there, but.
Often I will say that there's maybe not as much attention paid to the temporary striping instead of,
Yeah.
that there is when they put the permanent striping down, but same situation north of Dunkirk when you came into the county. It was a little wild there for a while, so.
The same
happens.
company, so I
Yeah, I
don't
don't think-
drive on that road much. I don't know how rough it is, but Brooms Island Road, I swear to God, they made the shoulders rougher.
I don't think temperature was their friend when that project was going on.
Correct.
I don't think oversight was their friend. But I could be wrong. I'm not in the paving business.
We'll make sure they're aware.
I think they are aware, but I don't know what they're gonna do. Cause, I don't know how long paving's supposed to last, but that paving's already breaking down. So, there are gonna be potholes in it next year, the way it looks today. Sorry, we digress, but that's something
That's why we're here.
doesn't cost money. And Commissioner Grasso, it's government, and, the 231 project, you're right, we've been working on that for years, and to finally get it in the cycle where they actually have funding, and then, earlier we thought they had pulled the funding, so it's just, as we all know, the gas tax is not providing enough revenues to construct all the transportation projects in the state, and,
Well, when are we getting our traffic lights synced?
that cost $2 million, they said, when we first proposed it. So,
I've been hearing it forever. And what's he always say when you see him at Mako or whatever? Hey, good to see you. I don't have any money this year, but hey, good to see you. I'm like,
we just go to Ocean City and take a short video of those traffic lights and tell them this is what we want. But, we digress.
We'll keep that on the list. So we will also be asking for, this is a new one, bike lane / sidewalk installation on Maryland 402, Dares Beach Road, from Calvert High School to Armory Road, as the new developments are coming in so that it is walkable. And then we will be asking for, it's more of an FYI to MDOT for the Chesapeake Bay passenger ferry anticipated future funding. And we did get some late requests from the town of Chesapeake Beach, so we will be asking for support, requests for some of their initiatives. There are additional sidewalks they wish to complete on Maryland 261. They wish to extend the Chesapeake Beach Railway Trail to East Street. More traffic calming in front of Bayfront Park. And they are looking to do a boardwalk safe crossing on Maryland 261.
So we'll add that to our list for them, on their behalf.
Sorry?
We'll add that to our list on their behalf.
If you're so inclined, yes.
We are working with them. They are on the Grants Collaborative group that the County Administrator's Office put together. There are some opportunities, and they've reached out to me, so we might be able to get them some grant funding.
So are there projects normally on our list?
Yes.
Like the Fishing Creek Bridge and the
They
pavement
hadn't
improvements?
reached out in the last couple of years when I've asked, hey, what are you guys looking to do? And they did right before sending you guys this list, so.
Right. Okay. Is that all?
That's it. list.
Any other questions?
No, thank you.
Any additions?
Thank you.
Subtractions?
So now,
Good.
move-
No,
recommend moving forward.
we don't have to make a motion, we're just giving direction, so.
We'll be back with the actual priority
Official
letter.
document.
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So that brings us to public comment. Mr. County Attorney?
Mr. President, with your permission, I would read a admonition for public comment. The board adopted a resolution in 1989 intending to maintain the order and decorum of the governmental process. A copy is found here to my right. By Resolution 5120, persons are welcome to address the Board of Commissioners on any matter germane to the business of county government. Persons addressing the board shall refrain from statements, remarks, or conduct that is uncivil, rude, vulgar, profane, or otherwise disruptive to the conduct of the board's business. All speakers must identify themselves and, whether speaking as an individual, where you will be allocated 2 minutes, or as the appointed spokesperson of a group where you'll be allocated 5 minutes. For those attending virtually, if you wish to speak, please press *9 or use the raise your hand function. The Ethics Commission has asked that we remind speakers at public comment that lobbyists include those who seek to influence public policy, and lobbyists must register in advance. When there are none or no more speakers, we will then move on to the next agenda item.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Susan DeZurek, and I'm from Huntingtown, and I'm speaking on behalf of Calvert Citizens United. We want to thank you so very much for your support of Calvert Citizens United's House Bill 834. By doing so, the Southern Maryland legislative support of our bill is not only bipartisan, but it is unanimous. If at any time you question the need for this bill, let me give you a clear understanding of why the passage of HB 834 is imperative. The following quotes are from the Calvert County Ethics Commission's document titled Findings of Facts and Conclusions, page 8 and 9. I emailed that document to you this morning. As you recall, during the 2040 Comprehensive Plan process, Option B referred to Commissioner McConkey's vote to include his own property into the Huntingtown Town Center and is referenced here in the Ethics Commission's document. Quote, conclusion, having found that Commissioner McConkey violated the Ethics Code as alleged, the Ethics Commission adopts the strongest course of action within its authority by issuing a letter of censure and ordering Commissioner McConkey to cease and desist from any further violations of Section 41-13. The Ethics Commission issues the letter of censure rather than a milder letter of reprimand in light of the apparent premeditated nature of the violation. Commissioner McConkey's vote did not occur in a vacuum. Instead, he participated only after his previous abstention caused Option B to fail, and despite significant public interest and criticism that his participation would violate the county's conflict of interest rules. At no point did Commissioner McConkey seek the Ethics Commission guidance or approval regarding his vote. Instead, he requested a non-binding opinion letter from the county attorney, which Commissioner McConkey voluntarily produced to the Ethics Commission in advance of their October 14th hearing. That letter, dated 1 day prior to his August the 6th vote to adopt Option B, makes clear that Commissioner McConkey and the county attorney anticipated that the Ethics Commission would find a conflict of interest in the matter, as it both identifies the possibility and sets forth his best arguments in Commissioner McConkey's defense. In doing so, it appears that Commissioner McConkey determined to paper up his vote in advance so as to place himself in the best position possible to defend against any subsequent complaints or actions by this body rather than make a good faith effort to comply with the law. If the ethics code has any meaning, it must stop elected officials from voting on matters in which they have a conflict of interest. The vote for option B might have been the right choice from a policy perspective. It might have not been. We take no position in that regard. Our concern is that Commissioner McConkey had a conflict of interest, knew about the conflict of interest, and voted anyway. On that, our position is clear. Commissioner McConkey violated the ethics code by participating in that vote, end quote. It should be noted that the Maryland Court of Special Appeals upheld the ruling of the Ethics Commission in that Commissioner McConkey committed a classic case of conflict of interest, and the Maryland Supreme Court denied and dismissed Commissioner McConkey's attempt to overturn the lower court's ruling. Clearly, the threat of being censured was not enough to deter Commissioner McConkey from voting on his own property. What's worse is that in his attempt to dodge the consequences of his actions, the commissioner made a conscious effort to destroy the personal and professional reputation of the chair of the Ethics Commission to achieve his goal of self-enrichment. Therein lies the need for House Bill 834. Thank you again, Commissioners, for your show of support to the citizens of Calvert County.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Joseph Cormier. I'm here today to talk on behalf of the Wise Wizards, the Windy Hill Elementary Destination Imagination Team. Commissioners, I want you to know that I support the Destination Imagination and the Gifted and Talented program through Calvert County Public Schools. Recently, I was privileged to attend a practice session at Plum Point Middle School this weekend where my son Levi, a fifth grader at Windy Hill Elementary, worked with his third, fourth, and fifth grade peers across the county to do these simulated instant challenges. Now, an instant challenge is a timed event where students are given a prompt, and it could be a skit, it could be something with science, technology, engineering, and math, any of those concepts where students have to communicate, cooperate, and extrapolate a unique solution to the prompt that they've never seen before. For example, in one instance, they had to perform a short skit where two people were having a silent dinner and had to silently communicate with a third who needed to be silenced because of a baby sleeping in the next room. In another, they were given a pile of supplies, paper cups, stickers, newspaper pipe cleaners, and had to combine them to construct the longest horizontal structure from a target area on the wall. Immediately, I was struck by how quickly these teams broke down the challenge, shared their ideas, rated them, created a plan, and then executed it. They showed teamwork, positivity, and a can-do attitude at an emotional level that I would expect from high school students or even full-grown adults. Additionally, after the challenge, they were able to receive feedback and reflect with the judges and use that to discuss what they did good and what they can do better next time. These are skills that are crucial to everyone in any scenario every day. These are skills that I didn't develop until I was in the Army, working together with a random squad of soldiers from various backgrounds that shoot, move, and communicate. And to execute a task, that's the basis of a squad. That our elementary age students are enabled to grow these social emotional language skills is a boon to our community. Additionally, I was able to witness twice gifted students, students with communication issues, autism, ADHD, mobility issues, and they worked together with their peers hand in hand, and there was no distinction between the two. I was able to see parents, guardians, and stakeholders cheer on the students and come together as a community. I was able to see the efforts of our staff, parents, and high school volunteers volunteering their time and effort to create this event programming that's vital to our students' growth. All of this to say that Calvert County has benefited immensely from the Herculean efforts of Dr. Crystal Ricks, the gifted and talented teacher, and her support staff, the parent volunteers who run the program week to week at the school level, and while I can't point to a specific outcome or a trend in academic performance or a return on investment, I can say unquestionably that this program has a huge impact on our students and our community. As we continue to work to build the next year's fiscal budget, I urge you and the Board of Ed to not just maintain the gifted and talented program, but look for ways to expand it and build upon the successes that we've seen so far from Dr. Crystal Ricks, Coordinator of Advanced Learning for CCPS. We need extra staffing, funding, cooperation, and support as these students go to regional and state competitions. Thank you for your time and hearing me and for the efforts I know you're going to put forward to this program. Union strong, go Northern, support the NJROTC, all the things. As a community, we just need to work together to support these kids. Again, for third, fourth, and fifth graders, you have to go and see it to believe it, because they broke those challenges down. And within a minute, they had a plan, and who's going to do this and who's going to do that. And they set tasks, and they did it. And it was amazing to see, and I can't wait to see my kids go to regional to compete. So whatever we can do to get parents back in the building to do these things, it's immensely needed to get the community back involved. So thank you so much. Support gifted and talented.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anybody online?
There's no one online.
Thank you. Brings us to commissioner reports. Commissioner Cox.
Thank you, Mr. President. Had the opportunity this week to attend the State of the State address with President Hance. It was very interesting, and we're going to have a very unique budget season this year, and we're working very hard on it. I hope everyone has a safe and great Valentine's Day coming up this week. Thank you.
Commissioner Arlen.
I just want to thank staff for the CIP presentations. I know there's a lot that goes into it, and it looks like some cuts are being made, which was good to see. We definitely have to be fiscally responsible, especially during these times. That's all I have.
Thank you. Commissioner Hart.
Just want to wish everybody a happy Valentine's Day.
Commissioner Grasso.
On February 7th, I spoke at a Calvert County Republican Central Committee meeting, attended my Jefferson Patterson Park meeting, and on the 9th, Commissioner Hance and myself and staff attended a joint meeting with the BOE, just a few members of the BOE, to go over some pertinent information. On the 10th of February, I attended Hot Chocolate 5K at Jefferson Patterson Park, handed out medals, saw a lot of my fellow Calvert Countyans there, fellow co-workers, and yesterday I attended a Rural Counties Roundtable on Housing. Senator Cardin was the keynote speaker, and our Jennifer Moreland did a great job. And my MACO meetings are up to 3 a week. I'm having a lot of fun.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you, Commissioner Grasso. As Commissioner Cox said, he and I attended the State of the State last Wednesday. So he got his first tour of the governor's mansion. I don't know how impressed or underimpressed he was, but it was a good time, and did get to see a lot of my old friends that are still around there from my days at the state, and nothing's really changed, and I didn't really miss sitting through State of the States, but Commissioner Cox had a good time. And on Saturday night, Commissioner Cox invited me to the Sportsman's Dinner at the Baptist Church just here south of Prince Frederick. That's always a great event, good food and good fellowship. Appreciate the invitation.
New pastor.
And they have a new pastor there. Pastor Nevin is retiring. I think their new pastor said he's coming in sometime in the middle of March to do our invocation, so we're looking forward to that. I think you've heard some bits and pieces. We are going to have a very challenging budget cycle this year on several different fronts. I'm sure word has already gotten out that the state has cut our county school system $22 million in state funding. It's quite a challenge. And the school system has put together a budget where they've requested an additional $10 million in new money. So just for you all out there listening, that's a $32 million hole in our, that's got to be filled somewhere. But we're just starting the budget process. I just ask everybody to be patient as we work through and figure this out. We will figure it out. There got lots of different things going on trying to work through this process. But we've still got a couple months and a lot of work in front of us, and I have faith in my fellow commissioners and staff that we're going to get this done, and it'll be just fine. But it is going to be a little bit of a challenge. So
To say the least.
stay tuned. This is going to be an interesting budget cycle. That's all I have. Mr.
Want a motion?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I move to recess to executive session pursuant to general provisions, Article Sections 3-305B, 1I, to discuss the appointment, employment, assignment, promotion, discipline, demotion, compensation, removal, resignation, or performance evaluation of appointees, employees, or officials over whom the board has jurisdiction. And 8, to consult with staff, consultants, or other individuals about pending or potential litigation.
Second.
Have a motion and a second that we go into executive session. Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Everybody have a great day and happy Valentine's Day.
Thank you.